guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, your pretty entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. This from a guy, he doesn't say how old he is, but I'm guessing probably 40s. And he's sharing a story secondhand about a female friend of his who, I can't believe he's friends with this woman, who recently broke things off with a guy that she'd been out with like 10 dates with because this guy made her pay on the date. You're going to see actually this guy got even with her because this woman is unbelievably entitled and demanding and thinks that she's high and mighty. And this guy got even with her. But here's the funny part about this whole thing. This woman is 50 and a single mom and has 3 children, and yet she's walking around high and mighty like she's the queen, like some giant catch. And this guy finally put her in her place, and she doesn't like it too much. And that'd be a very good one to go over here, guys, making the point. 2 things. Number 1, just how delusional many of the gals can be nowadays. 50 years old, single mom, 3 kids, and still feels entitled. Now, this dude does say she's good looking for her age, but still. And what creates that level of delusion and entitlement? I'll tell you, nice guys, SIMPSs, those guys. And if those guys would stop being that way, you'd have fewer women like this. But the second most important part of this story to learn from is something I've been saying since day one. Keep the first couple dates inexpensive. So many guys out there are so desperate to get a woman to like them, they'll shell out all their hard-earned money, take her to some fancy dinner, spend hundreds of dollars on an evening, and the woman never talks to them the next day. And if that has happened to you guys and you've made that mistake, you know how much that burns. Not just burning your wallet, but burning your pride, and you feel dumb. You never do that. You keep them cheap. Ideally, a drink. You're all adults here. Most people will have an alcoholic beverage, but if not, a coffee. And if you suggest a drink and she scoffs at it and is appalled and feels insulted, that tells you everything you need to know. And I guarantee this guy in this story here, if he would have done that, he wouldn't have wasted all this time, energy, and money on this particular woman. And blog guys say, what do you do, SSM? Well, you know what? I'll tell more later on. I'll read this story. I'll get more into detail for those who want to hear it. But this will make my point exactly. So it starts off, says here, hey, SSM, I love your channel, and I discovered it 2 years ago and really think it should be required listening for most guys today, especially young teenagers. Well, I wholeheartedly agree. I'm the same age as you and grew up with all the stupid happy wife, happy life crap. I wasn't a simp, but I still made boneheaded decisions. One book I'd recommend guys read is No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. It shows how being nice, expecting people to reciprocate, doesn't get you what you want. Well, I never read that book, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. Anyway, so here's a short story I want to run by you and the audience that I think shows how crazy modern women are, and ask you for your take and see what the audience thinks. I have an older female friend who is 50 years old. I'm going to stop right there. Knowing how this story goes, I don't know how you're friends with this woman given her behavior and watching my channel. She looks good for her age, has a good job, but is divorced with 3 kids. He says she married a Democrat guy. I don't know those existed. Well, there are plenty. She also comes from some money and exotic childhood vacations to Africa and Europe, safari tours, etc. There you go. Now we know. Now I know where we're coming from here. She comes from some money. Therefore, growing up, she was spoiled. Well, she was recently telling me that she cut a guy off after 10 dates, because of red flags. I asked her what happened, and she said on the 10th date, the guy fumbled the check, and so she paid, and that seems a bit harsh, right? 10 dates, this guy went on her, and he had her pay for the 10th one. And that was it. Dumps him. This woman better look really amazing for 50. And she should have been really giving this guy everything he could possibly want in the bedroom for him paying for all 10 dates. Are you nuts? I guarantee he wasn't. Yeah, and smack to that bonehead that did that. See, guys? See how clueless these guys are? Well, I asked her, had he paid for all the prior dates? She said she had planned one outing, a picnic in a park, but her answer made me think this guy had been paying the entire time. Oh, whoopee. She prepared a picnic. That probably didn't cost a whole lot. As it came out, she picked her favorite expensive restaurant and invited her best friend to meet the guy. Then when her teenage daughter found out she was going out, she invited herself along. So now the guy, instead of having a date with my friend, is meeting the daughter and the best friend. In other words, they're clam slamming him from getting any that night, if he got any already, and he's paying for them. And she probably figured, hey, he'll pay. Do women do this to guys that are high value and they know they can't get away with things? No, they do it to pushovers. Apparently, her daughter kept asking for appetizers, and the guy said, order what you want, and ordered an expensive steak himself. In my mind, if somebody says, order whatever you want, it means they're paying, right? Well, when the bill came, the waiter asked about splitting it up, and my friend said, it'll be on one check, which is fine for friends where you do that, and your friend says, I'll get it next time. But this was 4 people. So the waiter dropped the bill off, and the guy made no move to get it. After a few seconds, my friend grabbed it and put down her credit card, and the guy offered to pay the tip. My friend said the bill was almost $400. So in other words, when the daughter wanted to get more appetizers, and I don't know how many appetizers this teenage daughter can get. Was she like fucking 300 pounds? He's like, sure, order more. And he gets the biggest steak, and he probably gets the most expensive glasses of wine or full bottle of wine, $400. You know what? The date was supposed to be him and that woman. She brings along her fucking kid and best friend. I think this is funny. So my friend, the 50-year-old woman, dumped the guy the next day thinking he was clueless and made her look bad. But another woman I know tossed out another idea, that she's on the guy's side. She said she thinks the guy was probably tired of paying and probably led them on, especially with the order whatever you want comment, and ordering the steak, planning in advance that he wasn't going to pay. I agree. I 100% agree he did that on purpose. And you know what? She deserves it. 9 or 10 dates with this guy, and still she's expecting him to pay for everything. What does that say? And again, let's go back to the whole delusional thing. She's 50, and a single MOM, and 3 kids. Again, I don't care how good she looks for her age and fit she is, still, she's no great prize. Come on here. Unless that guy's like 80 years old. You know? No, she got what she deserved. This guy finally wised up. But how much money did he spend on her to probably only be treated worse, right? You know how much money he would have saved and time, because time is valuable, if he would have done the first date drink thing? Because you know this woman would have accepted that. She would have been so appalled. I hadn't thought about that option. I could see a guy being a clueless simp, but I can't imagine a guy reacting to a woman picking an expensive restaurant and then inviting guests along and expecting him to pay. Most guys would have rolled over, but this guy did not. Well, that's the thing. The guy obviously had been rolling over for like 9 freaking dates. I'm glad this guy did this. But a lot of guys would have paid. Unfortunately, my friend is somewhat entitled and thinks she is in the right. Of course she thinks she's in the right. She's a spoiled brat. She was raised with family money and all that. A little entitled, really? She worked hard for everything, but still expects the princess treatment. She's not a princess. She's, a very old princess. However, in my mind, no woman has a gold-plated pussy worth 10 free dates, especially when you're 50 years old with 3 kids. So do you think this was a clueless fumble of the bill or a smart revenge by the guy? Keep up the good work, SSM. Mike, you've been watching me a while. What do you think? Of course it was a planned out thing. Either he planned it in advance or right then and there, that moment when she moseyed on in with her BFF and daughter, he's thinking, fuck this shit, but I'm going to have some fun with these assholes. And I say good for him. And honestly, this story could be like posted on Reddit. I'm surprised she or he didn't do that, and probably some national publication would pick it up, because something like that always gets people arguing and everything like that. Women would be on her side, guys would be on his. But no, he had every right to do that. So again, guys, making the point about the delusional entitled women out there, 50 years old, demanding the princess treatment. And this is why so many guys walk away. And of course, keep the first few dates inexpensive. Now, I'm going to elaborate more, because I get new people all the time. Some of you might say, SSM, okay, fine, you meet a woman for a drink, and she actually is okay with that. But what's going to stop her from ordering all this shit, and you're stuck paying for it? I'll answer your question. You plan your date, your drink. Let's just say it's an alcoholic beverage. Let's just say it's not coffee, but it's actually an alcoholic beverage at a nice restaurant or bar that serves food. But you want to make sure she's not going to keep ordering expensive drinks and racking up a big tab and ordering fucking caviar and you're spending a fortune. This is what you do. You plan that date. You meet her there. But you get there in advance. Now, being a woman, I guarantee you she's going to be late. They always are. Get there in advance. Order your drink of choice. Pay for it immediately in cash, not your credit card. And where they have an open tab, the bartender will probably ask you, or the cocktail waitress, do you want to keep it open tab? No. You pay for it in cash. Done. Have your drink. She'll show up because she's always going to be late. And there you go. And she orders something. Okay? Now, some people are already thinking, man, you're a cheap ass or something. No, there's a reason for this. If you left an open tab or you met her on time and the credit card's sitting there, she can order whatever she wants. But if you get there in advance, pay for it in cash, settle the bill, and you sit there with your drink. Maybe you're at the bar watching some TV. It's a nicer restaurant bar or a cocktail table, and she comes in. She orders something, okay. And then she orders something like the most expensive glass of wine on the menu, and there's some very expensive glasses of wine out there, or starts ordering all this food, even though you're supposed to be for a drink. Guess what? You don't have to pay for it because you have your credit card sitting there with an open tab. You sit there, have your drink. If you like her, maybe you converse longer, maybe you get a second drink. But if you don't like her, at that point, you can leave, and she's paying the whole fucking thing, the expensive drinks, and the caviar, and the oysters, whatever the fuck she orders. That's how you do it, okay? And I guarantee you she'll be shocked, because she'll assume you have an open tab, and she can do whatever she wants. Now again, if she's cool, and you like her, okay then, maybe you handle things a little bit differently, but that's the point of saving yourself from getting ripped off and used, because there are plenty of women out there, like this woman here, that will use guys. And there's so many clueless guys out there that are so desperate, they'll do this crap. I mean, it really is true. I've been doing this a long time. It's really the simps and the nice guys that really greatly contribute to the attitude that so many women have nowadays, the entitled attitudes, you know? So, there you go. But anyhow, guys, it's a quick one, but an entertaining one, and that woman's gotten exactly what she deserved. And I'm going to end this with this to the guy that wrote in, Mike. Why the fuck are you still friends with her? She sounds like an asshole. In fact, let me rephrase that. Based on your description, she is an asshole. Unless, I don't know, she was your side piece on occasion when the well was running dry, you need some easy ass. Doesn't sound like it's worth it to me. So I think you need to distance yourself from this broad and move on. Why would you want to spend time being associated with someone like this? Unless maybe you work with her or she's your neighbor or something. I don't get it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think the guy did it on purpose? Or, he was just, who knows? I want to hear what you all think. And guys, if you've got a great story you want to share, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll most certainly cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.